It is simply another picture-perfect weather night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. And the fans rolling through the gates at Great American Ballpark for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Reds were winners here last night, trying to make it back-to-back wins over the Brewers. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Both teams flexing their muscles last night, but the Reds come out on top. And, boy, this has been very much a homer-rich, friendly Reds team so far this year.
Well, it's a good lineup, and it's a deep lineup, so you can oftentimes see home runs from anybody, all the way from the one-hitter all the way down to the 8, maybe even the 9-hitter. 3 home runs last night. Billy Hamilton got it going. He was around the bases in just right around 16 seconds, but when you hit him as far as Duvall and Suarez and then Joey Votto do, you want to milk that time around the base pass because it felt so good coming off the bat.
Now tonight we get a look for the first time here on the home front after making his major league debut in Washington last weekend at the young right-hander Luis Castillo. Remember, he was brought all the way up from Double-A.
Well, he was, but remember, he's also 24 years old, so he's pitching, maybe more with his peers if he were at Triple-A this year instead of Double-A. But you cannot question what he has as far as a rocket arm. His fastball last time out was going anywhere from 95 to 100 miles an hour. He featured a new little slurvy slider that turned out to be a very good pitch for him. He walked away more batters than he normally does. I mean, he only walked 13 batters in 80-plus innings in the minor leagues, and he walked 5 last time. So maybe the little nerves going right now. He'll get back to pitching. This ought to be a fun thing to watch him go, because he right now is the one guy in this minor league system you want to keep your eyes on. Chase Anderson, 30 years old, right-hander, broke in with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And he's got a changeup working, also a curveball. The new pitch for Anderson this year is his cutter. Throwing a lot more than ever before, Tom, and I know it's a pitch that you really like.
Well, it's a pitcher's pitch in this day and age. And Anderson certainly having the best start of his major league career. When we come back, you know who we're tossing it down to. The main man following the Reds. I mean, you want to go to the source, you go to Jim Day. Talk about Phillies setting the tone when we return.
Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time.
12 News meteorologist John Gum. Looks like another great night for baseball in Cincinnati. The Brew Crew taking on the Reds here. 79 degrees for our first pitch. We'll drop through the 70s, low 70s tonight by the final out with mostly sunny skies. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, we beat this dead horse, but it is true. The way Billy Hamilton goes, often the way the Reds go. And of late, he's heated up. And last night, they outslugged the Milwaukee Brewers and outscored them 8-6. And Billy's been on that uptick. And when he's getting it going on base, wreaking havoc, good things happen. Last night, 2 for 5, including his second career leadoff home run. He was part of that combined 7 home run game. And the last 4 games, .438 average. That's 7 for 16. And to back up as Billy goes, go the Reds. Look at our IGS bringing the energy. In the first inning this season, he's got on base 25 times and scored 19 times. That's most in Major League Baseball. And in their wins this season, this says it all. 301 average, 359 on base percentage, and 31 runs. He's back in there at the top of the lineup. Who else is in? Who is out? The lineups and first pitch are next as the rookie, Luis Castillo, takes the bump for the Reds.
Back at Great American Ballpark with the young right-hander Luis Castillo for the first time. Climbs a mound here at Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. His second major league start tonight. And let's take a look at the Milwaukee lineup he'll be facing. It's a good one. Under manager Craig Counsell, presented by Menards. Sogard leads off at second. Thames at first. Braun in left. Travis Shaw at third. Hernan Perez is in right. And Keon Broxton in center. Stephen Vogt gets his first start as a Brewer. Just joined the team 2 days ago. RC at the shortstop. Anderson having an excellent year on the mound. Second major league start for Luis Castillo, brought up from Double-A Pensacola and made his major league debut Friday in D.C.
Well, that was a tough place to make a major league debut. They had a full sold-out house in D.C. Nationals Park that night, and also an excellent hitting lineup. Now, he's got a hitting lineup tonight to face as well, but he's had a chance to throw a bullpen, work with Mac Jenkins a little bit. He's got the same catcher behind the plate there in Tucker Barnhart, and I expect to see a little better command of his off-speed pitches than we did the first time out.
So digging in is Sogard. He's playing in his 40th game since the Brewers picked him up. Looks at a strike. 96-mile-per-hour fastball from Castillo, and this one is underway. Castillo was having a wonderful year down at Double-A this season. Bottom fell out of that pitch. He's ahead of 0-2. His overall record was 4-4, but a 2.58 ERA. Opponents were batting .233 against him. He had walked 13 batters in 80 innings while fanning 81. And the Reds, rather than going with a Cody Reed or Robert Stevenson or Sal Romano or even Rookie Davis, they bypass that quartet and a few others to bring this young man straight up from Double-A, where he was teamed up with Tyler Mahle, who now is pitching at Triple-A Louisville through a very good game and a loss 2 nights ago. Two of the hot prospects in the Reds organization. Still 2-2 on Sogard. What a pickup Sogard has turned out to be. On base percentage of .459, a .350 batter. And he will be the regular second baseman and not Jonathan Villar, even though Villar was brought off the disabled list. How about that right there? Gone swinging Sogard to start the game.
Well, he did the entire at bat with a combination of fastballs and that changeup. That's the changeup that we've heard so much about. A little bit of a modified circle change, and look at the downward action that is. Just really great arm action.
Strike one in there, fastball to Thames. We talked about all the damage that Thames has inflicted on the Reds this year. 8 home runs, 13 batted in 7 games. Last night was the 8th game, and the Reds handled him perfectly. Nearly perfectly. 0 for 4. He did draw a walk. That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Another changeup.
Well, he's got such good arm action and good feel for the release point tonight that looks like that is going to be his go-to pitch. You know, the Reds didn't know much about him. They didn't know even when he pitched his last time out. Barnhart, you know, had to go to Castillo and say, all right, well, how's your slider coming along? And now they've had a chance to kind of familiarize themselves with each other. And he looks very comfortable out there right now.
Bouncing ball to the second baseman. It's a 10-pitch inning for Luis Castillo. His first inning on the home front. Nicely done. Reds are coming up. Take a look at their starting lineup under Brian Price, presented by Menards. Hamilton, what a way to get it started last night. Gennett, then Votto. Duvall, Suarez, Scheffler, Peraza, Barnhart, Castillo. Twice in his career, once in 2014. And then to start the game here last night, Billy Hamilton has led off the game with a home run. Both games against the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, third time's a charm, right, Mr. Welsh? Why not 3 in a row?
Well, that would be certainly a nice way to get the game going.
Saw that note where Curtis Granderson led off 3 games on a road trip for the Mets, hitting a home run. There's a fly ball to left, and looking right into the bright sunshine is Ryan Braun. 1 pitch and 1 out for Chase Anderson. I don't think anybody saw these numbers presented by Mazda coming for Anderson.
Not really. He's always had somewhat pedestrian numbers. Good serviceable right-hander. Came up through the Arizona Diamondbacks organization and then was traded over here 2 years ago, basically, in that Gene Segura trade. But what's happened for Anderson is this: he's added a cutter, and he's gotten a little better curveball going as well. That and the fact that his velocity has popped up in the last couple of years, all that coming together for Anderson, he's done a really nice job this year. And the one thing that really stands out as I look at the numbers on Anderson and listen to all the people talk, said he keeps the ball in the ballpark better. We'll see if he does that tonight, but so far so good. He's only given up 8 home runs.
Opponents are hitting .226 so far this year against Anderson. 1 ball and 1 strike on Scooter Gennett, a longtime Milwaukee Brewer until just before the end of spring training this year. And what a wonderful addition he has been so far in his first season in the town which he was born, Cincinnati. And ball turned on but jerked foul. 1 and 2 on Scooter Gennett. 6 games in a row with a hit or a run scored for Gennett. Both of them actually in the same game, 6 straight games. That's the longest running such streak in the major leagues.
I think that last pitch was probably a setup pitch. He's thrown out 2 fastballs, same speed. Scooter hooks one foul. He's way ahead of it. The second one he's trying to wait back a little bit more on. Now Anderson probably will pull the string on him and see if Scooter can hold back enough.
He missed with it. Did he double up on that pitch? Looks like he might. Yep. And gone swinging is Gennett. Milwaukee on defense, presented by Ford. Hernan Perez taking over out in right field tonight for Domingo Santana. Infield the same as last night, and Vogt, after being picked off Sunday, made his Brewers debut as a pinch hitter last night, makes his first start tonight. Now Joey Votto, 304, 21 home runs, 55 runs batted in, and a big home run here last night. Fly ball down the left field line, and Braun with a really nice catch to end the inning. That's nicely done by Braun. An 8-pitch inning for Anderson after a 10-pitch top of the first. No score. Generally, the only area of change, semi-regularly, of course, comes behind the plate, and it's Tucker Barnhart's turn tonight after Mesoraco started the series opener. Devin had a nice game last night. Had a hit in 3 at-bats. He knocked in 2 of the 8. 4, 5, and 6. Castillo a perfect first inning with 2 strikeouts. And here's Travis Shaw, Washington Courthouse, Ohio native. 1 of 3 last night, and the one was a big one. Hit a 3-run home run to right field in the 3rd inning, giving the Brewers a short-lived 1-run lead. The Reds would tie the game on a Suarez home run in the bottom of the 3rd. And it stayed that way till the 5th when the Reds came up with 3, highlighted by a Votto tie-breaking 2-run home run. Back up through the middle, and that's into center field. Reds have the big shift on the left-handed batting Shaw, or maybe the second baseman Gennett has a play on that ball. Maybe.
Well, you didn't get a whole lot of it. You can see it was not only on the end of the bat, but at the bottom of the barrel of the bat. Just a little bit of overspin right there, and it spins right through the infield.
This guy has been a really, really good player for the Brewers this year. We were talking to Craig Counsell yesterday and kind of working our way through this team, and he said the one guy that we've been able to play virtually everywhere, and he just simply gets the job done, is this man right here, Hernan Perez. Plays the outfield, plays the infield. 10 home runs, 33 runs batted in, 7 stolen bases. Yeah, it'll make a manager smile having a guy like that. Started 2. Did he go? They appeal, and no. Perez has been very, very good this year against. Remember early in the year when, you know, he had like 3 home runs and 8 batted in, and against everybody else he had no home runs and 3 runs batted in. He's obviously picked up the pace against everybody else since the Reds have seen him last. Been a while. 2-1 threw a fastball at 98 right by him. Perez has basically been an everyday player, even though it may be at a different position. We bring up regularly the number of at-bats. Most everyday players are somewhere between 240 and 270 right about now, and that's right in the neighborhood where Perez is. So he's not like a Scooter Gennett type where he plays from time to time. He starts a lot.
The pitch that Castillo is trying to figure out right now is that slider. He had a very good combination of fastball changeup in the first inning, but he faced primarily left-handers. Got strikeouts out of both of them, and then Brian Braun swung at the first pitch and made it out. He's got to figure out a way now to get that slider release point going. What he did last Friday, as far as the number of pitches he threw and the average speed of it, boy, look at the speed of the fastball. 98 miles an hour, change up 10 miles an hour less, and a pretty good slider.
Three balls, 2 strikes on Perez. Over at first, Shaw, a single to begin the inning, and another wasted pitch fouled out of play.
You know, Tom, Castillo is one of those pitchers that does what you have pointed out a number of times. When he begins to come to his set position out of the stretch, and then he kind of wiggles a little bit, twitches a little bit until he finally comes to a final stop. What I like about his stretch position, he's very compact. I mean, he's not a guy that takes an exceptionally long stride. and he doesn't really load up with his leg and tilt his shoulders. I mean, it's like kind of turns his hips and goes.
Back-to-back pitches fouled away on fastballs, 3-2. And here comes the payoff pitch once more. And he walked it. Threw him another fastball, but this time missed. So the Brewers have a little something cooking here with a single and a walk to begin this second inning of a scoreless game. And here is Keon Broxton. Talked about how hot Broxton had been coming into this series last night. But boy, did the Reds cool him off. Broxton, I mean, compared to what he's been lately, he's been nearly a .400 batter the last 2+ weeks. He was 1 for 3, drew a walk, did have an infield hit, stole a base, scored a run. But even the last 10 games saw those numbers. Very, very good for the Milwaukee center fielder. 2 on, none out. 1-1. Straight up in the air. Billy looking for it now, picks it up and still running. Oh boy, did he have to go a long way, and tagging alertly and moving on to third is Travis Shaw. That is excellent base running right there by Travis Shaw. It's almost as though, you know, Hamilton called Chevrolet off so early that Scott just stopped.
I think Billy lost it for a while. I think he looked up and then lost it and then realized, uh-oh, he took a quick look over at Chevrolet and realized Chevrolet wasn't getting there. That's what speed can do for you, to recover. And then Shaw's going to put himself in a position to tag up anyway. He may or may not go, depending on what happens to the fielder. But when Billy Hamilton went down on his knee to catch the ball, that was a green light.
So now first and third, and Vogt the batter. Vogt brought on as a pinch hitter in the game last night. Came up there with the bases loaded in the 8th inning and popped up to Schebler and right to retire the side. An all-star each of the last 2 years as an Oakland Athletic was Vogt. But turned loose as the A's continue to shed payroll and try and get younger and younger after a very tough start. 0-1 on Vogt. What's amazing, Billy Beane continues to stay there. I know that to keep him, they gave him some ownership in the club. But man, that's got to be tough every single year. You're not drawing any fans, a team payroll of next to nothing.
And every year the storyline seems to be, are they going to get a new stadium in San Jose or not?
The team fighting them the hardest is the team that territory actually belongs to, and that would be the San Francisco Giants. They are the ones more than any other that won't want the A's down in San Jose and getting into that market that they feel belongs to them. And by baseball definition, which gives the territory to every single piece of the United States of America. Every team has its territorial rights for television and radio broadcasts and so on and so forth. And that area where the A's would like to move and where their owner actually owns property is Giants territory. High fly ball into deep right field. Schebler back to the wall, and it's caught by Schebler. And tagging and scoring from third is Shaw. What a play by Scott Schebler. Perfect timing, leaping into the air and perhaps taking away a 3-run home run by Vogt. He made a great play to end the game last night.
He did make a great play to end the game. I don't know if it was as dramatic as this one, though. We have not seen him do any kind of acrobatic leaping to pull back a home run ball, but then he does it right there for the first time. Boy, that is a nice catch with his back to home plate. That takes some kind of concentration.
We know Schebler is an excellent athlete, and boy, did he show his athleticism and timing and making that play to take away, and it definitely would have been a 3-run home run. So a run home and a 1-0 Milwaukee lead here in the second inning. Strike one to Orlando Arcia. Colorado Rockies lost earlier today to the San Francisco Giants. The Rockies have lost 8 straight games.
Coming back to the mean.
One of the big stories in baseball today had to do with the Chicago Cubs. After the game last night, longtime veteran catcher Miguel Montero, who was behind the plate last night with Jake Arrieta on the mound, a loss to the Nationals. Washington stole 7 bases against the duo of Arrieta and Montero, and when Montero was asked about it after the game, he said pure and simple, I had no chance because Arrieta doesn't give me a chance to throw guys out. Well, the Cubs released him today. One and two on Arcia. Perfect piece of hitting there. Just slapped it the other way through the hole and into right field.
I watched him in batting practice today, Tom, while the Brewers were hitting, and he did this over and over again. I mean, really trying to kind of drill that muscle memory into him to stay back and just hit the ball to right field. Now, he didn't practice that particular swing, but the whole idea of being able to go the other way gives you a chance on that breaking ball that's going away from you.
Now the pitcher Chase Anderson, 5 hits and 31 at bats with a double and a run batted in. Castillo having to work here in the second inning. He needed 10 pitches in a 1-2-3 first. He's about to throw his 25th pitch in this second inning. Now Castillo's fallen behind the pitcher 2-0, and
yeah.
Tucker says, wait a minute.
Yeah, and Tucker, the message is, hey, don't start picking the corners on the opposing pitcher. Your stuff is good enough. You aim for the center of the plate right here and keep the ball down, or keep the ball up at the top of the strike zone.
Milwaukee still the division leaders in the Central at 41 up and 38 down, one better than Chicago. The Cubs lost last night to the Nationals. They're losing early 2-0 tonight. Cardinals are out in Arizona. They got beat by the Diamondbacks last night. They'll play again tonight. See the Reds at 7.5 games behind these front-running Brewers. After the visit to the mound, back-to-back strikes for Castillo.
Yeah, the Brewers have been alone in first place for 38 days.
And we brought up last night, this was a franchise that in each of the last 2 years did not spend a single day, not one, in first place in the Central Division. on swinging Anderson and gone to the Brewers, though they get a run. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been 3 were it not for Schebler going up to get it.
Him a donkey continues. This was Zach today doing an interview for MLB Network wearing a t-shirt, "Life is better with a donkey," and then all of a sudden someone in a donkey costume shows up unexpectedly with a Vote Cozart sign. Zach didn't expect it. Who is this, a donkey stand-in? It's Joey Votto himself, taking it to the next level. Here's Joey.
To play as well as he has at shortstop, and to still remain as one of the better, if not the best, defensive shortstops in baseball, certainly in the National League. I think that combination of offense and defense, I think, is very difficult to do. I really hope that going forward he gets a chance to show that off on the big stage.
And we first broke out this story in spring training, and little did we know it would grow in legs and grow and grow and grow. And we are a couple days perhaps away from Zach Cozart getting a donkey if he makes the All-Star team. As change on the mound, looks like Chase Anderson, gentlemen, injured himself on that last at bat.
How about that?
Well, as he was chasing the last pitch, it was a fastball that Luis Castillo threw right by him. It looked like he swung and missed and then grabbed his knee. Take a look at it. I think it's his back knee. Maybe it just twisted a little bit. Front knee.
Oh, what a blow that could be to this Brewers team. I mean, this has been their #1 guy. Him, and Jimmy Nelson have kind of been 1 and 1A.
Oh no, he's grabbing his rib area. That's an oblique. Look at the disappointment on the face of Craig Counsell. Maybe not disappointment, just exasperation and surprise. Like, how does that happen? Paulo Espino is the right-hander that they bring in from the bullpen, originally drafted by the Cleveland Indians. Came up through the Cubs in 2013. The Cubs released him after a year, and the Nationals picked him up. Anyway, he was signed last November by the Brewers, and here he is in this ball game in the second inning.
Hey, Fox Sports Ohio has a very special ticket offer to catch the Reds and the Cubs this coming weekend. It's only available during our telecast tonight. You can go to reds.com/FSOhio. And you get a view level ticket for any of the 3 games against the Cubs for $10. $10. For a view level ticket, you're not going to beat that anywhere, but you have to do it tonight. Reds.com. Log on /FS Ohio. Get your tickets right now. Espino last pitched on Sunday in Atlanta, worked 2 scoreless innings. They brought him up after game 1 of a doubleheader on June the 13th from AAA Colorado Springs. What an excellent game and year this guy was having down there, pitching at nearly mile-high altitude. In 9 starts, a 4-1 record, a 3.26 ERA. Now he did give up, and we know how the ball carries. Chris, you talk about it all the time in that league. In 49 innings, he allowed a whopping 19 home runs.
You know, out there, it's not really only how the ball carries. It does go about 10% higher when you're at mile-high elevation, but it's the thin air and the inability to throw a breaking ball. And Espino's best pitch is a curveball. He throws it an awful lot. He'll blend in a slider as well, but he's 50% fastballs and 50% breaking balls.
Make no mistake, not taking anything away from Espino, but this could be a big, big break for the Reds. Anderson, a 6-2 record coming in, had allowed 73 hits in 89 innings and an ERA at 2.9. And no matter who you bring in after him, the kind of year he's having, that pitcher would not be as good as Anderson has been so far this year. See if the Reds can take advantage.
I mean, when you pull a rib muscle like that, and you know before you even go down the steps of the dugout that you're not going to be able to pitch, you know you heard something pull or felt a pop. This can take a long time to heal.
Good breaking ball there. 1-2 on Duvall, to be followed by Suarez and Schebler. The Reds are trying to put together back-to-back wins since they had that 4-game series sweep over the Cardinals. The second weekend this month. Hit off the end of the bat foul. Of course, they went on that road trip out west. That was a disaster. Did not win a game through LA and San Diego. They came back home. They were swept by the Dodgers. And then a 2-5 road trip through Tampa Bay, Washington, and St. Louis. So the 7th and the 8th of June, the last time the Reds have won back-to-back games. Duvall puts a charge into one deep center field, and just like that, new pitcher, new ball game.
You know, even if you were turned away from the plate and you were saying the beer line and you heard this, you knew it was a home run. I mean, that just sounded different. What a nice, easy swing. Boy.
Well, you look in the 8+ games between these two teams so far this year. Think about this for a minute. They have combined to hit 33 home runs. That's in 8 games and not even 2 full innings. 33 long ones. Here's strike 3 called to Suarez for the first out here in the inning. The Reds rank 4th in the National League in home runs. The Brewers rank 3rd. The top 2 home run teams in the league: number 1, the Washington Nationals, and number 2, the New York Mets. Here's Schebler. Were it not for his outstanding play in right, it would be a 3-1 ball game right now. Leaping up and going over top of the wall to snatch it back. Off the bat of Vogt. Started 2, was able to hold up.
Boy, you see it happen all the time, don't you? Where a hitter gets behind 0-2, the pitcher comes right after him, aggressive the first 2 pitches, and then nibbles around and nibbles around. All of a sudden, now you have a payoff pitch.
And here it comes to Shepard. And a hard hit ball. But that's a second baseman all the way out there in right field. Technically, it's a shortstop who was pulled all the way over Arcia. So it goes 6-3 on the putout. 2 away.
I'll tell you, the defensive shifts are making your scorecard obsolete. Because you really can't look at your scorecard anymore and say, well, this guy pulled the ball 4 times. Because you got the shortstop playing over there in shallow right field.
First pitch swinging Peraza, a lazy fly ball to right, and that's all. But the Reds tie the game with Espino coming on for the injured Anderson. Duvall makes it a 1-1 game. Storyline. I mean, you look at the Reds schedule leading up to the All-Star break. You have Milwaukee, a first place team, 3 games over. You have the Cubs, a defending world champs, in for 3 over the weekend. And then you go to Colorado, and hey, even with an 8-game losing streak right now, they're still 14 games over 500. And in our visit with Craig Counsell before the ball game yesterday, he could not say enough about a team where he won a World Series as a player. And that would be the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Reds have struggled, and I mean struggled mightily. We'll go back to those numbers we just had a second ago. Against the better teams that they have played this year, those at 500 or better, the Reds have only won a total of 9 of 34. 32 of their next 36 games, including this series, will be played against teams that have a record of 500 or better, because after the All-Star break, remember, the first team that comes rolling in, the Washington Nationals, and the Diamondbacks are right behind them.
Yeah. I sure like his delivery on that changeup. I know it's a work in progress. He's still a young kid, 24 years old, but he sure sells it like a fastball.
And there's a fastball at 98 that paints the outside corner. That's a pitcher's pitch right there. Gas on the outside corner, knee high.
Well, there aren't too many hitters that are going to be able to react to it. They think it may be outside. I mean, when you're throwing at 98 miles an hour, nice little run on it.
Thames struck out his first time up. Nationals are blasting the Cubs in the third inning tonight, 5-0. Mercy. That Washington Nationals team, when they start spinning out those horses in that rotation. Last night, running Scherzer out there. Strasburg has had a good year. He's pitching tonight. He did not look good against the Reds last week. Gone for a second time swinging is Thames. 5 of them for Mr. Castillo. That was his total in 5 innings against the Nats Friday night.
Well, Eric Thames is still looking for a fastball. He did not get one this entire at bat. I think he got one in the first at bat. And it was a pitch off the plate.
Two balls and a strike on Braun, who bounced out on the very first pitch of his very first at bat to the second baseman Gennett in the first inning. 1-1 game. Brewers score in the top of the second. The Reds answer on a Duvall home run in the bottom of the inning. Now there's that breaking ball.
No, I think that was a change.
Was it? Okay, yeah, I beg your pardon.
But because they're very similar, they're tough to really decipher. But I think the changeup goes more straight down. The breaking ball has a sweeping action away.
Yep.
You can also tell on the release, you get a little earlier pronation on the changeup.
3-2 on Ryan Braun. And that ball is killed into right center field, and the Brewers have a lead. I mean, he came with a 98-mile-an-hour heat, and Braun turns it around to right center. Just off the disabled list is Ryan Braun. That's number 8.
Well, he's been really able to keep that changeup down. I think on a pitch where he needed to come in there, Arnott called for the outside pitch. He wanted it down. You see where and that ball just came back right out over the plate. It's the kind of pitch you get away with when you're pitching in Pensacola. You do not get away with here in Cincinnati.
A home run of some significance there for Braun. That is a 23rd home run he has hit in this ballpark. And that ties the longtime Astros star Lance Berkman for the most by any visiting player since this ballpark opened. There is very little doubt that unless he's traded, and that's highly unlikely, that Braun will become the leader in that category. And if I was a betting man, there's one guy, and I'm not, but there's one guy out there that if he spends his whole career with one team, he will surpass Braun one day, in my humble opinion. You want to take a guess who that is? if he stays with one team.
Of the most home runs hit
before his career is over. Yes.
No.
That would be Chris Bryant.
He's off to a pretty good start.
I hope I'm wrong. He only has 5 so far. Because we don't like seeing him come in here and start hitting balls out in the moon deck and the sun deck and the riverboat deck and all of it. There's strike 3 called to Shaw, and that'll end the inning. But a tie-breaking home run from Ryan Braun makes it 2-1 Milwaukee. Ballpark, presented by Cincinnati Bell. You can catch the action for as low as $12 for tickets. Please visit Reds.com. We've got that big special offer going on right now. Get a view level ticket for $10. Go to Reds.com/FS Ohio tonight. Beautiful night, man. This weather has just been glorious in the Queen City the entire week. Expecting more of the same the rest of the homestand, so come on down. Here's Tucker to lead things off. Barnhart looks at strike 1 from the reliever, Paolo Espino. Chase Anderson, the starter, and a good one at that. Swung and missed, strike 3 to end the Milwaukee Brewers' second inning as a batter, and we understand the word from the clubhouse is a left oblique strain. That's not good for the Brewers.
That's one of those things you're just going to have to keep their eye on, and really not knowing right away how severe it is.
The Brewers are not exactly pitching rich in this starting rotation. You have basically the guy who's been, depending on how you want to look at it, your ace or your co-ace in Anderson along with Jimmy Nelson. Who knows, maybe they'll finally give the Mulder High School grad who we saw pitch in relief here last night. He's always been a starter. Maybe they give him a shot. Brent Suter threw the ball very well last night. Pull to the right side at Sogard, down on one knee to gobble it up. 1 out.
You really wonder if maybe the way that they have started this year, the fact that they're in first place and they've been in first place alone for nearly 40 days, whether they will be buyers at the trade deadline. I mean, after all, their payroll is only $63 million, which is more than $30 million less than what the Reds are paying this year. And they figured it was a rebuilding year, that they, you know, had a lot of guys to look at, and you look at all the transactions that they have done, and they have looked at a lot of players and moved a lot of players on. I mean, that old saying about you don't pick the year that you contend, the year picks you.
2 away in the inning, and a reminder coming up later on, we'll have our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. I think some of those around the Brewers organization feel like they would make a trade. They're not going to start handing out some of their, you know, big high prospect kind of guys, and they're certainly not going to acquire some huge money pitcher who is going to be a free agent at the end of the year and give up a lot to get him. Now, their owner came out and said that they were not going to be trading Ryan Braun.
Well, Braun right now is signed through the 2020 season. They have an option, I believe, or he has got a buyout of a deal in 2021.
I got to hire somebody that's going to give me one of those deals where for a team to tell me to hit the road, they got to give me about 2, 3, 4, 5 million.
Well, you got half of that already.
Well, I'm still looking, though, for the part where they pay me that to go away. I mean, I don't know where that game ever started, but man, oh, man, oh, man. I think the Reds in recent years have paid guys like Ryan Ludwig and Jack Hanahan and guys like that, you know, upwards of $2, $3, $4 million just to leave. Fastball away, and Billy Hamilton draws a 2-out walk from Espino. Those might have been the last 2 paychecks either one of those players ever got.
I think they both went on to retirement.
And the Reds aren't the only one. I mean, there are a lot of teams. We just told you about Braun and talked about another one. Can't remember who it was over the weekend. So here's Scooter. Trying to surprise everybody with a bunt. Fouls it off. When you look at the Cubs when they released Montero today, now that's entirely different clause in a contract than what we're referring to here, but just by cutting him loose today, they still owe him $14 million to leave. 0-1 the count on Gennett. In the air right field, and it is gone off the top of the wall.
Scooter was left out of the home run derby last night. Everybody around him hit home runs, and he feels like, hey, let me join the party right here. And he got out ahead of one right there and hooked it right down the line.
Not much of a dance here with him and Suarez. Suarez has a really good one with just about everybody. Not much here with Gennett. He better start tuning that act up a little bit, because Scooter has 12 of them now. Look at that. More than double his prior high for home runs in a single month.
And double satisfying because who it came off of. The team that cut him loose in the spring.
Gennett's career high for home runs in a season is 14. He hit that many last year. And we mentioned earlier with that home run right there, he has more home runs than Brandon Phillips hit as a Reds everyday second baseman all of last year in 550 at bats. Gennett's done it in fewer than 175. And there's ball 4 to Votto.
Scooter hits them to all fields. I mean, we've seen him take high fastballs, hit them opposite field. That looked like an off-speed pitch. Maybe a rare changeup from Espino. Hey, what though? They are going out of here down the line very easily.
A walk of note there for Votto. He came into the game tied for the most walks ever by a player born in Canada. I think it's safe to say the best Canadian-born baseball player to play in the major leagues as a position player was Larry Walker. And that's a guy Votto was tied with prior to that walk. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember. I believe that Ferguson Jenkins was born in Canada.
Indeed he was.
And I think that's, yeah, all right, then that's the guy I was thinking of. Is you'd have to say as far as
he's the only guy that had more walks than Votto.
I bet you he didn't walk as many in his career in the thousands and thousands of innings because he was one of the great control pitchers of all time.
You're right about that.
He's also one of the greatest strikeout pitchers of all time. He had one of the highest career, maybe of any Hall of Famer, the best career or among the best careers of strikeout to walk ratio. And Joe Luckup will look at, he walked 997 batters in how many innings?
In like 24 years.
4,500 innings. Out at second base in that one inning. But what they do, the Reds can do as well, and then one better with a man aboard. Scooter plays long ball and a 1-run Cincinnati lead. Ohio brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together, and by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. Special hello to all those watching over at Cincinnati Children's tonight. Maybe that brings a smile to your face. And if you're wondering what in the world is the significance of the donkey, well, Jim Day, you have talked about it many, many, many times as the Brewers come to bat here in the 4th inning, that if Zach Cozart goes to the All-Star game, what then happens?
Joey Votto buys Zach Cozart a donkey, who Zach Cozart has just been enamored with donkeys his whole life. He likes them. His son likes them. Gonna buy him a donkey, and Joey said today that he's already made arrangements. I guess he's got a donkey dealer. And he's already made it. If Zach makes it, he's already got it in the works. There will be a donkey delivered.
That was the outfit earlier today, donned by none other than Joey Votto, and Zach Cozart was on with the MLB Network. Nothing in one on Broxton as Perez has gone on strikes to begin this inning. It's 7 strikeouts now for Castillo. In fact, each of the last 5 outs he's recorded have come via the strikeout. 1-1 to Keon Broxton. And there's ball 4. Second walk of the night issued by Castillo.
I think some of the walks that you're going to see from Luis Castillo early on are not because he cannot repeat his delivery. It's because he just maybe loses his concentration a little bit. You can get away with it when you're pitching, against minor leaguers. But even just 1 or 2 bad pitches can determine a difference in a ball game here. I mean, he's got such a nice, easy delivery. Keeps his head still throughout his whole motion.
Strike 1 on both.
He's taken a first pitch every time he's come to the plate.
Man, that is easy gas, isn't it?
It sure is. I mean, he's got such an easy arm slot. Doesn't have to work his body hard to get way up on top of the ball.
Both thought he had a 3-run home run. His first hit as a Milwaukee Brewer his last time up. And what a play that was by that man right there. Perfectly timed leap against the chain link fence out there, which allows the pitchers in the Brewers bullpen to watch the game. Only 2 small areas, one by the Reds bullpen in left center and down the right field line for the visitors bullpen. It's not a padded wall. It's a padded top of the wall. That ball's muscled foul. And if you didn't see it, take a look at this. Fox vision. Put one of those spikes inside the chain link fence to give him a little extra push up and above the wall.
Normally all the great catches you see on the highlight reels are done by center fielders. You don't see that many done by right fielders going over the wall like that. Of course, they've talked about Shepard being a capable center fielder as well. Two balls and 2 strikes. Broxton has 14 stolen bases.
And a base hit into right field. Will Broxton test the arm? No, he will not. Schebler got to that ball quickly in right. So a walk and a single will bring up the number 8 hitter, Arcia, who singled through the hole into right field his last time up. In the air, center field, and Hamilton will run it down. Got a great jump on the ball, and that's the second out of the inning. So now the pitcher Espino will bat with 2 on and 2 out. The Reds leading by a run here in the top of the 4th inning. Strike 1. Espino 1 of 3 as a batter so far. Oh, 2. So now Castillo trying to put the Brewers aside here in the 4th inning. A strike away from his 8th strikeout of the night. We got ahead 0-2, missed with a fastball, and now misses with a change there. And these are 2 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, and 2 has gone to 3-2. Well, you got to believe Espino's getting the fastball here. The runners will be going. That's why it's so dangerous going to 3-2 even with the pitcher at the plate. Here it comes. He got a fastball. He puts it in play, but hard hit at Gennett to end the inning. A hit, 2 left. Reds lead by a run.
not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Don't forget, right now on Fox Sports Ohio, we have a very special ticket offer for you to catch any of the Reds and Cubs games this weekend at Great American Ballpark, but only available this deal tonight. So log on to Reds.com/FS-Ohio and get view level tickets for any of the 3 games against the Cubs for $10. Now this offer will not last long, so get your tickets right now. Beautiful, beautiful night here in downtown Cincinnati. Great American Ballpark, where the Reds, after 3.5, have a 3-2 lead. Fell behind 1-0, tied it at 1, fell behind 2-1. Got a Scooter Gennett home run in the 4th inning, 3rd inning to take the lead, and here they come in the 4th. Eugenio Suarez struck out, as now we're starting to go through the 2nd time in the batting order for these Reds since Espino entered the game. Slow breaking ball and a beauty first pitch strike.
Yeah, 68 miles an hour. That's the old get ahead curveball. Comes back, a little harder one right there, maybe more of a slider. If you've got that curveball that you can throw for a strike, you can do it at any level of baseball, and it can be as slow as molasses. And most hitters are simply not going to swing at it on the first pitch of the at bat. Most hitters are looking for that fastball.
That one just sort of served into right field. Suarez clearly was fooled by that breaking ball, and that's an easy out.
Now, Espino was born in Panama and then raised in the city of Bradenton, Florida. In fact, he went to the same school that Chris Perez. You remember him, a right-handed pitcher with the St. Louis Cardinals for a while. Originally drafted by the Cleveland Indians, Espino was. And then made his way through a couple of different organizations, the Cubs, the Nationals, and then signed last year, as I said, with the Brewers.
Well, it's a nasty first pitch breaking ball again. That one, instead of 68, he tuned it up to 69. Schebler bounced out his first time up. Got a good rip at a 3-1 pitch and fouled it straight back. Count is full on Schebler. Three-2 breaking ball and fooled him for strike 3.
Yeah, we told you when he first came on that that's been his fastball. I mean, that's been his best pitch. He'll throw his fastball about 40% of the time, but everything else seems to be a variation of that breaking ball.
Well, he's gone back-to-back breaking ball on the first pitch to each of the last 2 hitters. Does he do the same thing to Peraza? Breaking ball in the dirt. That wasn't a slow one. Big overhand breaking ball. He started out Suarez and then Schebler with. 2-0. Peraza flied out to the right fielder, his only time up.
Yeah, the Reds recently faced another pitcher who was a real curveballer. And that was Alex Cobb down in Tampa Bay. And we mentioned at the time that he's probably a guy that could pitch a whole game with nothing but curveballs. I think Espino is probably in that same category. The high strike is wild tonight.
Tapper over the mound. Sogard. Boy, that's a nice play. Peraza can run. A perfect fourth for the Milwaukee right-hander. Reds lead by a run.
Luis Castillo so far in this ball game, one-run game. The Reds are up on the Brewers. 7 of them on the night, but the impressive thing about being able to see him one time and then adjust, well, Castillo staying one step ahead of the hitters. He struck out Eric Sogard and Eric Thames to start off the first inning, both on changeups. Then in the third inning, when the inning started again, here comes Sogard once again. This time he paints a fastball on the outside corner and goes right back to the changeup to get Eric Thames. So he has handled the top 2 in the order, nothing but strikeouts for those guys, and he is rolling right along right now is young Luis Castillo.
All right, so he'll be facing those guys, as Chris mentioned, now with a 1-run lead. Third time through the batting order for the Brewers against Castillo. Swinging and looking to strikeouts in the books. Against Sogard, he looks at a fastball low. Sogard, due to a knee injury, missed all of the major league season last year. He did play a couple of rehab games in the minor leagues, but nothing at the big league level as he bounces out to the mound. So, you know, when the Athletics turned him loose, the Brewers thought, well, it's worth a shot. Sent him to AAA, hit .330 there in a month. Then they brought him up when Ryan Braun went on the disabled list for the first time. And since getting a chance to play, Greg Counsell certainly believes that the hot hand will play. And despite the fact that VR led the major leagues in stolen bases a year ago, when VR himself came back from a disabled list, well, He's sitting on the bench for the time being.
Interesting.
You know, what's interesting is Counsell is a player who was in the exact same position when he played and wound up winning and was an integral part in winning a pair of World Series. You know, the Florida Marlins brought in Counsell from the Colorado Rockies because they felt like they needed more sure-handed defense on the right side of their infield. They had the very young and talented, remember the other Luis Castillo? Turned out to be an excellent player in the major leagues for a long time.
Sure
but
did.
when it got down to quote-unquote you-know-what cutting time, the Marlins decided it was time to get Counsell in the lineup and give him a chance to play. And he wound up scoring the winning run in Game 7 of the World Series in that thrilling World Series over the Cleveland Indians. Then you fast forward years later, and Counsell comes into Arizona, and Bob Brenly says, this guy's too good not to be playing. And so he sits down Jay Bell, who at one time was a shortstop. Tony Womack had taken over at short for Jay Bell. Bell had moved to second base. And when the Diamondbacks got down the stretch and into the playoffs and into the World Series, Counsell went into the starting lineup. He wound up being the National League Championship Series most valuable player in beating Atlanta, and then was part of that ninth inning rally to beat Mariano Rivera in the bottom of the ninth inning in Game 7 of the World Series against the Yankees. So he knows what it's like to be a guy to get put in there and get a chance, and don't let the other guy ever get the job back.
So are you saying that that may be influencing his style of managing?
I don't know, but I think at least he has seen that from a player's side, and now he's seeing it from a manager's side.
Interesting here, third time around for Castillo. He's going more with the fastball. He blew away Thames with a fastball after Thames struck out the previous 2 times on a changeup. And now he's challenging Ryan Braun. Of course, it's Tucker Barnhart doing all the pitch calling tonight.
Fastball off the inside corner. Remember now, it was a 3-2 pitch that Ryan Braun slugged to the seats in right center, a fastball his last time up.
Not getting it this time.
Nope. In the hole. And the inning is over. That's a nice inning right there. Third time through the order for Castillo.
Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. We have talked over the years about Adrian Beltre perhaps being underrated big time. 450 career home runs now, one of 3 active players joining Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera. And the Mets, well, they have their pitching injuries as well. Robert Gisselman placed on the DL. They currently have 7 pitchers and some big names to boot on their disabled list.
Well, certainly there was a time when Adrian Beltre would have been considered under the radar. But when you pile up the kind of numbers he's piled up, and he's closing in, he's 31 hits away from 3,000. 3,000 hits. He has 599 doubles and only 7 runs batted in from 1,600 RBIs. He is a lead pipe, first ballot, no doubt about it, Hall of Famer. And on top of all that, he's one of the best defensive third basemen for over a decade. Brewers now going to their bullpen.
And he's done a lot for his home country of Puerto Rico, starting a school down there to give young people a chance to get an education.
Broken bat pop up. Tucker Barnhart upset about that. Josh Hader now on the mound.
Hader's a hard-throwing left-hander that the Brewers got from the Baltimore Orioles. Back when they acquired him, he was really a low-level minor league pitcher, but after he came into that Brewer organization, kind of skyrocketed right through the minor leagues.
Well, he will be a starter moving forward in his career. Fred Counsell talked about that yesterday. Said they're using him in the bullpen to get his feet wet because they needed a left-hander in that bullpen. He said, but make no mistake, he's heading right back as a starter looking ahead to next year. Number 2 ranked prospect in their organization is Hader.
You know, he reminds me a little, just with his delivery, of Chris Sale. I'm not saying he's going to turn out as good as the Boston left-hander, but gives you that kind of feel when you watch him pitch. A little bit of a lower arm angle than most left-handers.
On swinging is a pitcher Castillo, and first 2 retired by Hader here in the 5th. Well, you know the drill. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign out by the tall stacks in right center tonight, Joseph Johnson of Loveland, Ohio, or as some might say, Loveland, Ohio, would win that beautiful new Tundra on display here at the ballpark. And you can win it. Just stop by your Cincinnati and/or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Jim Day, I think you once referred to Loveland as Loveland, Ohio.
I did not.
I thought it was you. My bad.
You got the wrong dude.
Hey, Joey Votto hit his home run in that vicinity of that sign last night.
Yes, he did.
He's also hit it over the sign before. Split the stacks.
Billy 0 for 1, walked and scored on the Gennett home run. That was a 2-out walk that Hamilton drew in that 3rd inning, which kept the inning alive for Gennett. And he bounced one off the top of the wall and then skipped over the wall to give this Reds his current 1-run lead. Ground ball to short. Arcia will hurry, throws on the run and got him easily. We go to the 6th. Reds 3, Brewers 2.
League game. Now, amongst the many adjustments you have to make to the major leagues, one for a pitcher is the baseball. In the minor leagues, the seams or the stitches, if you will, are much higher. In the major leagues, they sit much lower. Brian Price compares it to you're throwing in the minor leagues, and then all of a sudden you come up here to the major leagues and you're throwing with more of a cue ball. And to show you how much different they are, when a major league pitcher goes down and makes a minor league rehab appearance, he pitches with a Major League Baseball, even though he's playing in a minor league game.
You learn something every day. Did you know that, Chris Welsh?
I did not know that last part. I did know that the major league seams are smaller, and it seems like you get more and more up the ladder. And compared to high school balls, college balls have lower seams, and then even lower for minor leaguers. And of course, major leagues are very small. Small seams also help the ball travel a long way. And that's one of the things that Major League Baseball has intentionally or unintentionally done over the last couple of years, is lower the seams of the baseball slightly.
That's a 4-pitch walk to Shaw to begin the inning in a 1-run game.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how long his leash will be. I know that there are people down in his hometown of Bani, Dominican Republic, down in the south central coastal area, not really right on the water. A beautiful little town down there where he comes from. In fact, there's a number of major leaguers from his hometown. Jose Bautista, Miguel Tejada, Juan Uribe, to name 3 that you probably have heard of before.
He's not losing any velocity off that fastball, but location is a different ballgame.
Yeah, that's the last thing to go is your velocity. It's funny because teams used to use the radar gun as a way to tell if pitchers were getting tired or not. I was never certain that that was all that great a method, but a lot of teams did that. Usually the hitters tell you before the radar gun does.
Well, he is yet to throw a strike in this inning. The most pitches that Castillo has ever thrown as a professional was on June the 1st this year. He threw 102 pitches in a game at Double-A. We mentioned Wandy Peralta before this inning ever began was up and throwing in the bullpen, and now they're going to stall a little time here. Barnhart comes out to visit Castillo after 6 straight balls to open this 6th inning. Make it 7. And that was the 100th pitch of the night for Castillo, who has struck out 8, walked 3, allowed 2 runs and 4 hits. There's a strike. Well, the one thing Castillo did in that first start, he rolled up a couple of very important double play balls, both off the guy who's leading the league in batting, Ryan Zimmerman. Got to believe Perez is looking for something to hit 3-1. Maybe he gets a double play ball here. Pitch on the way. Nope, rocket down the line. And that ball is up against the wall. On his way to third is Shaw. Throw into second, and the runner is out. Duvall has done it again.
Wow. I mean, normally when you hit a ball down the left field line and it reaches past the left fielder all the way to the wall, you're thinking 2. Hernan Perez can run a little bit, but we've seen Duvall play that ball perfectly before. Bare hands it off the wall, and Perez sees it coming.
Well, Mac Jenkins is going to come out for a visit. Now, we have talked that Broxton right now is among the hottest hitters in this Milwaukee lineup. But we also know that Broxton does strike out a lot. He has fanned 102 times in 244 at-bats. Right-handed batter, so they're going to stay with Castillo for this at-bat against Keon Broxton. The next pitch will be the most pitches that Castillo has ever thrown as a professional. His 103rd coming up. He has a runner at third. That's a tying run with 1 out. Infield in. Broxton is flying to center and drawn a walk.
Yeah, if you watch the mannerisms of Mac Jenkins when he was out there, he was instructing Castillo to keep the ball down. Keep your nose down and keep the ball down. They don't want to elevate anything right here for Broxton to hit a fly ball and tie this game up.
He's only thrown 2 strikes in this inning.
They bring the infield in even with the bag, not right at the edge of the grass. Shaw does not run all that well compared to some of the burners they have.
2-0 on Broxton. Castillo to the plate. Swing and a miss. And again, that was down low at 98. All right, now he has 2 strikes on him. He's come with back-to-back fastballs here at 98 miles per hour. Does he have the confidence here, Chris Welsh, change up or slider to put him away on strikes?
Well, the one thing about missing the zone is that you tend to go back to the number 1, which is your fastball, because you have better control of that. When he was striking out all the batters earlier in the game, he was mixing that changeup in regularly.
Came with a fastball at 99 miles per hour and blew him away. How about that? Now, does Brian Price let him stay? No, he's not. He's going to come get him with 1 more out to go in the inning. That's impressive.
Very impressive. I want to see a whole lot more of him.
That's really impressive. Tying run at third, and you know that's probably the last batter you're going to face in the game. You fall behind 2-0 and then blow him away 98, 98, 99. Welcome to Cincinnati, Luis Castillo. Back-to-back outings, Chris, but even so much sharper in this his second major league start was Castillo than he was on Friday night, his MLB debut.
I got to figure, Tom, we're going to see a lot more of this, I think, than you are the other one. It's early, but I just love his stuff, his ability to repeat, his confidence in his changeup early on. And when he had needed that strikeout when he had to get it against Keon Broxton, he painted the corner with a fastball. Now, Wandy Peralta, one out to get, man on third base.
And that's a tying run at third base and starts him off with a nasty breaking ball, strike one to Vogt.
First time Vogt has swung the bat on the first pitch in the 4 at-bats we've seen him take in this series.
Tying run is at third with 2 away. It's a nice block right there by Barnhart. Boy, you just love seeing when you need the strikeout. A runner at third. Yeah, you'd of course take a pop-up or a ground ball right at one of your infielders and cut down the guy at the plate. But man, you go 98, 98, 99, all about a foot and a half off the ground. That's doing it. Now remember, this young man had the lead when he left the game in D.C. He had clearly outpitched Steven Strasburg that night, but the Reds bullpen couldn't hold it down. So the Reds are going to have to cover 3 innings and 1 out with a 1-run lead, at least for the time being, if Castillo has hopes of winning as a major leaguer for the first time tonight. Still 2-2 on Vogt. Two and two, the count on Vogt. We'll do it again. Vogt going to make Peralta work here. This will be the 8th pitch in this at bat coming up. Getting started with a 4-pitch walk and a single. But Perez trying to turn the single into a double. Huge out on a throw by Duvall to get him at second. Then the strikeout. And now the 2-2 again. Full count. Well, you battle through to get this matchup to get Castillo out of the game of lefty on lefty. And this will be the 9th pitch in the at bat. You have the right-handed batting Arcia waiting on deck. 3-2 pitch. Lined into right, hit hard. Schebler got it and the inning is over. Yes, indeed. Applaud the final out. 3-2 Reds after 5½.
the Brewers tomorrow night. 6:30 for Reds Live, the game to follow. Swing into summer on Fox Sports Ohio, and Fox Sports Go is presented by Click It or Ticket. Tomorrow's probables, it will be Homer Bailey making his second start back from injury. He will face Jimmy Nelson, righty versus righty, so perhaps Homer Bailey can knock off some of that rust as the Brew Crew and the Reds close down the 3-game set.
All right, Jim Day looking forward to that. I'm sure Homer Bailey is looking forward to that big time after his first game back. Came on Saturday in D.C. But now back on the home front. Reds facing Hader for a second inning. He had a 1-2-3 fifth. Gennett right now. His swing with Hamilton aboard in the 3rd inning, the difference in the game. 2-run home run. Brought the Reds from 1 down and put them 1 up.
That was the Votto home run last night that was the difference in the ball game. A game that saw 7 long balls.
Joey waits on deck. Fly ball left field, and that's to Ryan Braun, 1 out.
Hey, Hader gives you a lot to look at, especially when you're a left-hander, to try to decipher exactly where that ball is coming from. He starts his delivery real slow, but then when he starts getting it on the way to the plate, he really lets you see a lot of elbows and knees and feet flying at you. Take a side look at his motion right here from over on the Reds dugout side. Fastball, and then looks like a slider there for Hader to get ahead of Joey Votto 0-2.
Well, you'll mix in some decaf watching this guy long enough. Holy Moses. Take a look at this. I mean, he doesn't. There is no sight of still with this guy. Two and two. If you had Hader on the mound and Jay Bruce at the plate, I'll tell you, you'd have a lot going on. Maybe a better guy would be Hunter Pence, because he's another one. Constant movement, motion. After getting ahead of Votto, fastball, curveball, Joey has worked the count full. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning in a 3-2 Reds lead. They're already in the 7th inning at Nationals Park. There's a drive down the left field line, but that is foul. Nationals an 8-3 lead over the Cubs, knocking John Lackey out of that game early. Lackey's ERA has climbed to over 5 for the year.
They got to be a little concerned. An aging starting rotation, very solid obviously, but Jake Arrieta beginning to spring some leaks. Lackey does not look like the team from last year.
That is quite an at-bat right there by Mr. Votto. Not that that should come as any surprise. Guys never seen before. Gets ahead of him, fastball, upper 90s, slider, 0-2. And Votto ultimately draws a walk.
That's what we talked about a lot of time, where a pitcher gets ahead of the guy 0-2 and then starts nibbling around.
You know, the other part of the Cubs story tonight is we were talking about Chris Bryant earlier. Bryant apparently rolled his ankle, and bad enough where they had to help him off the field tonight. Of course, they've got Anthony Rizzo batting leadoff now after moving Schwarber to the minor leagues. John Lackey, by the way, tonight has now taken over the dubious honor of having allowed the most home runs among all pitchers in Major League Baseball. In there a strike. He's given up 3 more tonight. Two and one the count on Duvall, who homered back in the 2nd inning. Pops this one up for Sogard. 2 away in the inning. Reds and Cubbies come your way Saturday. If you come early on Saturday afternoon, 4:10 start. If you're one of the first 20,000 fans through the gate, you receive a poster featuring the 2017 Reds and Topps baseball cards. Thanks to Barbasol. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Great shot right there. I think that's directly above us, if I'm not mistaken. 1 level up. Suarez 0 for 2, is struck out and fly to right.
You can see where the real effectiveness of a fastball can be when you're Josh Hader and you throw that 4-seamer up just a little bit above the top of the strike zone.
Hader was not having what you would in any way, shape, or form deem a good year. He's only 22 years old. So just turned 23, I beg your pardon, in April. But, you know, we told you the numbers on Brent Suter. You know, young left-hander, kid from Mulder High School, and an ERA in the low 3s, mid 3s as a starter pitching at AAA Colorado Springs. Hader had an ERA of almost 5.5. Force out at second base will end the inning. We march on to the 7th. The Reds cling to a 1-run lead. with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Vote at Reds.com/vote. And of course, the 88th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard comes your way July 11th live on Fox. Let's check in downstairs with Jim Day.
Well, Zach Cozart was eligible to come off the disabled list today. Obviously, that did not happen. Manager Brian Price before the game said, though, that he should be ready to go in the next 24 to 48 hours. I've learned my lesson many times. That is obviously a situation that can change, but he's getting better, and hopefully within the next 24 48 hours, next couple of days, he will be activated. The Reds will have a decision to make as far as their roster goes, and they still have not named their starter for Saturday.
Well, you better be alive down there, Jim Day. That ball almost got you.
I had to lean to my left as I was doing the report.
I know. I was watching.
Multitask.
Let me take a look at Jim Day giving a report, and oops. On swinging is Arcia against Peralta to open up the 7th inning. Anything you want to add to that, Jim?
No, other than Brian Price says they've decided on who the starter is going to be, but that pitcher just has not been told yet, or at least.
Well, the last time we heard that, it was Castillo.
Exactly.
The last time you had a report like that, it was Luis Castillo. Any chance it might be Tyler Mahle?
I think that possibility exists. He did pitch on Monday night. It was his first AAA appearance. He did not give up an earned run on that night. Pitched very, very well.
Yeah, he did. He struck out 9. I think he only walked 1.
And Saturday's his day to pitch. So I don't know. It could be they would have to make a 40-man roster move in that regard as well. So again, there's a lot that goes into it. Castillo was on the 40-man already, so that made it easier.
Aguilar, the batter. And quickly, they brought up Santana instead. They had Aguilar out there. I beg your pardon. And a bouncing ball. Peraza throws him out. Crowd starting to get jacked up because a strikeout away from some free pizza here in the ballpark tonight. Now back to the top of the order for Wandy, trying to get through the 7th inning. Reds a 3-2 lead. One-on-one on Sogard. 2 balls and a strike. 0 for 3 tonight. A strikeout swinging, a strikeout looking, and a tapper back to the mound. Off the glove of Suarez, who finds it, throws, and still got him. What a play by Suarez.
Nice play.
Are you kidding me? Dropped right down around his feet. At first, he did not know where it was. And by the time he did, shows off this arm. Look at this. In time. And the inning is over. They stand and stretch at the old ballpark, and the Reds lead by a run. of Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Jim Day will be down there in amongst the people, his people. Fox Sports Ohio condominium. What a play by Suarez to end that inning. So the Brewers go down to that bullpen once again. I mean, they get guys in and out. Oliver Drake, we had a chance to see in the game last night. They had 4 relievers that worked an inning apiece. Pater goes 2, does not allow a hit, walks a batter, strikes out a batter, no runs. Of course, they're having to patch it together after their starting pitcher, Chase Anderson, if you weren't with us, had a 1-2-3 first inning. He came to bat in the second inning with 2 on and 2 out. Wound up swinging at strike 3 and felt something in his left oblique area, and it strained something in there. He had to leave the game. So Espino came in for 3 innings, gave up 3 runs. Pater 2 scoreless innings, and now Drake 2-2 on Shebler. Home runs, a story again tonight, accounting for 3, or check that, 4 of the 5 runs we've had scored in this game. In fact, the Reds only have 2 hits in the entire game, and both were home runs. Duvall to center in the second inning, and then Gennett, after a 2-out walk to Billy Hamilton in the third, a 2-run home run off the top of the wall and right. Brewers have 5 hits, and one of their 2 runs come being the long ball. That was Ryan Braun in the third.
Been a really well played game defensively. How we've seen exceptional defense, like the catch by Shebler. Broxton gives you just a little bit of an idea that you have a chance it's going to fall in. Then he cruises right under it and takes it away from you.
When your strides are going about what, 3.5, 4 yards every time you, if not longer than that, seems like.
Very smooth.
Reds have action in their bullpen. Love that nickname George Grand gave for Tony Cingrani, the zinger. Down there getting loose in the bullpen. And Raisel Iglesias throwing right alongside it. Boy, how good did Cingrani look here last night?
They both have looked very good.
Cingrani a perfect inning and a third. Iglesias got into a little bit of trouble. Or not Iglesias, Lorenzen behind him when he allowed hit, walk, infield hit to load the bases, but got Vogt on a pop-up to end the 8th inning, and Iglesias a perfect night. Hot smash, but right at Thames. Tucker back to hitting left-handed. He's gone left-handed and right-handed. Now back to lefty. In his 3 trips, a ground ball to second, a foul out to first, and strike 1 here. Arismendi Alcantara waiting in the on-deck circle. Good change up there by Drake. 2-2 on Barnhart.
I wonder if there's something going on with Tucker Barnhart. He's got some kind of unusual body language after taking each of the last couple of pitches. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just.
No, I agree with you. It looked funny. Well, whatever it is, it worked into a single the other way. So close the book on Peralta, who did an excellent job. An inning and 2/3, perfect inning and a third. Strikeout. So you have lefty, righty, lefty coming up in the Milwaukee 8th inning. Mac Jenkins pacing around down there in that dugout. Now he'll take a breather, and I would imagine he's going to keep moving around. They want to talk with the manager about what direction they're going down there. Alcantara hits for Peralta. Virtually zero playing time for a long time for Alcantara, but with the emergence of Scooter Gennett, I mean, he's just done more than you could have ever asked. Alcantara was so good in spring training. He looked like he was going to be that guy that somebody needed a day off at short, or a day off at third, or a day off at second, even in the outfield, that he was up for the task, and perhaps one day he might be. But as it pertains to second base, no starts for Alcantara, or at least they are quite rare the way Gennett is playing, and Peraza moving over to short. Indians have a 7th inning 3-1 lead over the Rangers. Yankees in the 3rd in Chicago, a 3-0 lead over the White Sox. Look to the right side, and that'll do it for the Reds in the 7th. We're off to the 8th. Cingrani more than likely taking over. 1-run lead. This could have been a 3-run home run instead of a sac fly. In the Milwaukee second inning, Schebler up and over the wall to bring it back. In the bottom of that same inning, Duvall would tie the game with a home run. And after the Brewers got a home run by Braun in the third, it was Gennett skipping off the top of the wall and right. A 2-run home run. And how about Castillo tonight?
On his game, really, from the very first batter of the ball game, who he struck out. In fact, he struck out the first 2, went 1, 2, 3 in the first inning. The really only blemish on him is the home run ball that he gave up to Ryan Braun, but Braun has done that to a lot of pitchers in his career.
Brian Price is letting it all hang out here tonight. He had Cingrani go a perfect inning in a third last night. He goes Peralta, his only other lefty in the bullpen, going inning in a third tonight.
I'll tell you, having a couple of capable left-handers in the bullpen is something that Brian Price has not had the pleasure of having the last couple of years. Makes a big difference having 2 rather than 1. 3 is ideal. Of course, right now the Reds are carrying technically 9 relievers.
Swing and a miss, getting him to chase that high fastball, and Cingrani has plenty on that at 95. Reds pitchers have struck out 10 in the game. Braun, a right-handed batter next, and then you have the left-handed batting Shaw. Cingrani blows away Thames. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts tonight for Thames.
Well, that's on top of an 0 for 4 night last night with another strikeout. So 5 strikeouts in the last 2 nights for the guy who was the one-man wrecking crew for the Brewers when they came through earlier in the year. This is a guy that has 8 home runs against the Reds this year.
All right, good battle here. Braun, always so dangerous, has bounced to second, homered to right center, and grounded to short. As we've seen already tonight, we've seen for a number of years. I mean, this guy has incredible opposite field power. So you run that fastball up there like Castillo did tonight, throwing at 98, 99. And Braun might be just tardy, but he can hit it a long way. 3 for 10 is Braun against Cingrani. A double and a home run.
Try to drop a little breaking ball on him. But if you're going to miss, that's the place to miss to Ryan Braun, not down the center of the plate where he's going to hit it a mile and tie the game up. Come back with the fastball here, probably. No, slider again.
Wow, at 90 miles per hour. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cingrani here in the 8th inning.
That's probably more of a cutter, I think, that Cingrani's come up with, a blend between a fastball and a slider.
That's a pitcher's pitch at cutter.
Well, you called that before the game, Tom.
No doubt about it.
Right on it.
This ball driven into deep right center field, and just like that, we're tied at 3. 96-mile-per-hour fastball, and this guy can hit. Travis Shaw.
Or just as you begin to you know, you're concentrating so much on Ryan Braun that you forget all about Travis Shaw, and he just goes up there hunting a fastball on the first pitch, and he's ready to drop the head. Man, oh man.
It's a new career high in home runs for Shaw.
It's a good looking swing.
And it means no first major league win tonight for Luis Castillo. Three game in the 8th. So well in one pitch, and just like that, a tie game.
Well, sometimes you tip your hat to the pitcher. He's going to look back though on the location of that pitch, and I think they probably wanted it on the outer third. He left it inside, and Travis Shaw was there to drive it out of here. It's been a home run hitting kind of a series so far between these two teams.
And that is not only this series, but season series. What, 35 now 36 home runs have been hit in the 8+ games between these two teams. That's incredible. Well, now Drew Storen, the goal was to get Cingrani through the 8th inning and hand it over to Iglesias. So now it's Storen, who pitched in the game last night, win an inning, allowed 2 hits and 1 run. So Cingrani goes 2/3, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 run. One and two on Hernan Perez. Pretty good footwork by the big fella down there. Got those baseballs weighing him down. Want that guy coming off the bench and getting some hard D. Bang some guys around, get a few rebounds for you. That's my guy. Strike three called. And the inning is over. But the Brewers tie it up on the long one by Shaw. Top of the order coming up for the Reds.
To catch the Reds and Cubs this weekend. Only available during tonight's game. Go to reds.com/FSOhio to get view-level tickets for any of the 3 games against the Cubs for only $10. The offer won't last long, so get your tickets now. Check out our big story tonight. You heard the gentleman talk about it earlier. Chris Bryant, look at this freak injury. Catches the foul ball and then oddly steps on third base and twists his ankle or jams his leg. Been no announcement from the Cubs, but he was in pain, so much so, as you can see, had to be helped off the field and helped off very gingerly. Happened in the 5th inning in Washington. That would be a big blow, obviously, if he's out for any significant amount of time.
You hate to see that for any player. Taking over on the mound. What a run it's been for Corey Knebel.
Well, you're not kidding about that.
At least 1 strikeout in each of his last 38 appearances, which is the longest streak by a reliever to begin a season in the modern era. That goes back to 1900. The major league record for consecutive games with a strikeout by a reliever in a single season is held by the former Cub Hall of Famer and Cardinal Bruce Sutter, 39. So Knebel could tie the all-time major league record if he strikes out 1 batter in this inning. And he's ahead of Billy Hamilton in 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, not bad for a 25-year-old that was traded twice in his short major league career, short professional career. #1 draft pick by the Detroit Tigers, 39th player pick, so he wasn't like the top guy in the country. That was 2013. Traded to Texas, then traded to Milwaukee. He went in the Giovanni Gallardo deal. Brewers have made some pretty good deals.
2-2 the count on Billy Hamilton. 3-2. Boy, would you love to get him on to start this 8th. Brewers just tied the game. The big hit, the home run with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning from Travis Shaw. Hamilton 0 for 2. The Reds have 3 hits in a game. And Hamilton is a Boyd ball 4 to start the 8th inning.
Now that's the one thing that Knebel has yet to improve on a lot is his control. That is the 18th walk he's given up this year in fewer than 40 innings.
This was Scooter Gennett after a walk to Billy Hamilton in the 3rd inning. 2-run big fly.
All right, so I know you're asking the question, can you steal on Corey Knebel? The answer is yes. The opposition has had 8 bags stolen, and they have only thrown out 1.
Really a huge lead over there at first and easily back on a throw over.
And that was kind of an easy throw over by Knebel. You wonder if maybe he's got a better move and he's just setting him up a little bit.
It's a little bit better, a little firmer throw. I don't know if the move was any quicker or not, but certainly had a lot more hair on the throw over.
Well, because it was so close though at second base, you wonder if maybe Billy will be a little bit tentative about getting a jump here.
Well, after watching the last 3 throwovers, there would be 0 reason for Hamilton to get tentative. I mean, he is full bore all the time, and I don't think he's afraid of anybody. And we're not suggesting that he should be. But if that's the best Knebel has, one of those 3, that lead should be swelling at first. And there he goes. Easily steals second base. That's no contest. And that ties Hamilton for the league lead with Trey Turner at 32. Say after watching that throw as well, he might be thinking about 3rd.
Well, the other thing they think about, Tom, and they're able to dissect this stuff down in the bowels of a stadium where all the analytics guys are, and they look at tape and they look at numbers and so on, and they say, all right, how many times has Corey Knebel thrown over to third base? 4 times in a row. Maybe 3 was the max. Billy Hamilton got a big enough lead to get 3 throws. He knew on the 4th he was gone.
Well, now do they ask Gennett to bunt on a 0-1 pitch. He swings through it. I don't remember Gennett having a sacrifice all year long. I could be wrong on that. No, he does not.
I'll tell you, you know, with where Travis Shaw has to play, he's got to keep one eye on Billy Hamilton. Now they're going to keep the shortstop close behind Hamilton at second base, but look how far Shaw is away from the bag there. You may be sitting at home saying, well, that's a tough pitch to take. Isn't it too close? It's a tough pitch to hit, too.
Well, they intentionally walked Votto. You knew that was coming. I know there are a lot of people that would perhaps disagree with what I'm about to say, but man, I got to get serious consideration of getting Hamilton down here to third base very, very, very early in this count to do ball.
Well, if he can get a lead down there, you know, he's now the shortstop is going to play in the hole on the third base side, and the second baseman will be holding Billy Hamilton on. But this is where Shaw's playing way back there. He's got a long way to go to the bag here while he keeps an eye on Hamilton. And I wouldn't imagine that Knebel's got much of a move to second base.
Now, Billy did not get much of a lead that time. Sogard is really nothing more than a decoy over there. You're right, Chris. I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Duvall already is quickly behind. No balls and 2 strikes. And by the way, that strikeout is now 39 straight games. It's a major league record in the modern era to start a year, and ties the all-time single season consecutive games record with a strikeout by a reliever. Now, Aroldis Chapman, you may remember, carried it from one season into the next season. Chapman went 49 straight games with a strikeout. But that was over 2 years. 0-2 on Duvall. There goes Hamilton. And no chance, not even a throw. The challenge now is Duvall's got to get this thing in play with 2 strikes and he at bat.
The question also is, what is Craig Counsell going to do with his defense right here? You're going to load the bases up. You're ahead in the count with the pitcher right here. Or are they going to stay back and play for a double play ball? Knebel has rolled up 1 ground ball double play this year.
All right, let's see if Duvall now can get Hamilton in from third with a go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ground ball, diving play at third, and the Reds will take the lead.
Hanging in there on a pretty good slider right there, although Knebel got it up in the zone. Shaw knocks it down to keep it from going into the outfield, but the run still comes in from third base.
Every time the Brewers have scored in the top half of an inning tonight, the Reds have answered in the bottom of the same inning, and they do it here in the 8th. A run in the 2nd, home run Duvall in the 2nd, home run Braun in the 3rd, 2-run big fly by Gennett in the 3rd, game tying home run by Shaw in the 8th, a walk to Hamilton, a couple of stolen bases, and an infield hit from Duvall. Reds back on top. Boy, and that is Billy Hamilton all the way right there. In a day and age where you talk about speed, not a big deal, Hamilton single-handedly stole that run for the Reds to take the lead in this inning. It's not always how many, it's when. And Hamilton gets lots and also gets them when you need them. 3 balls and a strike on Suarez. 3 walks in this inning by Knebel, one of them intentionally, and they're loaded. Manager himself on the horn. That's when you know it's not going well.
Yeah, when you're on the horn, when your closer's out there, it's a bad sign. You send your pitching coach out there with the slow walk to try to buy as much time as possible, but of course that 30-second clock limits it.
And the left-hander Brent Suter getting loose in the bullpen. Until tonight, the Brewers relievers had not allowed an earned run over their last 7 games, spanning 21 innings. They had held opponents to a 176 batting average. The lone run was an unearned run. So the first time since the 19th of June the Milwaukee bullpen has allowed an earned run comes in the game here tonight. Now Schebler with a chance to kick the door down. Bottom of third, Duvall breaks a tie with an infield hit at second. Suarez the walkover at first. And now timeout. Infield fly rule in effect here, and that will not bring in a run. 2 away in the inning. So here's Peraza with the bases loaded and 2 outs. The Reds in front by a run. Peraza in the game is 0 for 3. 3 times has hit the ball to the right side. A pop up to right, a ground out to second, and a grounder down to the first baseman Thames. Fastball away. And now 2-2. 2-2 on Peraza. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and here comes the pitch from Knebel. And again, fouled off to the first base side. Guy throws hard.
Goes very hard. And, you know, the other thing to consider here, he's thrown now over 25 pitches, now up to 28 coming on the next pitch. You know, you're thinking ahead, thinking about using him tomorrow and all that.
Peraza hanging in there. Eighth pitch of this at bat coming up to Peraza. And a one-hopper down to third. And the inning is over. But the Reds break the tie. Billy Hamilton stealing a couple of bases, and now Iglesias will try and nail it down. Of every game on Fox Sports Ohio. Everything you need to know. We call it Reds Live. Presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Miller time moment. I mean, right now, this is a play of the game. Could have been a 3-run home run. Instead, a sac fly, thanks to Schebler going to get it.
I'll tell you, that is an incredible play. And you could see him prepare for it. I mean, 30 feet away, he was kind of getting his feet so that he would time the jump just right.
All right, 3 outs to go now. The latter third, or rather 6, 7, 8 in the batting order coming up. Jonathan VR will come up and bat for Broxton, leading off this 9th inning. VR, like Hamilton, speedy, led the major leagues in stolen bases last year. Has lost his job for the time being after an injury.
Oh.
And that's just a bouncer over the third baseman's head.
That's what happens when you have a threat of a bunt. You bring the infield in and you get the advantage of a high hopper.
VR had a grand total of 7 bunt hits last year. He has 1 bunt hit this year, and he played every day the first 2.5 months of the season. Numbers just sensational on Rysel. Only 1 blown save the entire year. That was against the Dodgers out in Los Angeles on that winless road trip through LA and San Diego. Line drive right. Schebler got it. Boy, that ball was stung. And look who hit it. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that has hit 4 ropes in a game tonight?
Yeah.
It would be Vogt. He was the guy that had the home run taken away in the 2nd inning. He has a single to right and now a 2nd straight line out to right. I don't know if you can hit it harder in one game than Vogt has tonight and have just 1 hit. Now the batter, Orlando Arcia, the Milwaukee shortstop. They are a big-time stolen base threat over there at first. Aguilar standing there in the on-deck circle. That's just not a good pitch by Iglesias. They wanted that ball down and away right where they got the first strike on Arcia. Leaves it in the middle of the plate. Didn't hit it hard, but left it in a spot where he could serve it into center. Now all of a sudden that tying run is 90 feet away.
Well, we commented last night how Arcia really likes the ball up, and that got up a little bit. Like you say, he jammed him and got looped it in there. You know, it's amazing if you look at a video of a game just from a perspective of where the catcher sets up and where the pitch actually goes. A starting pitcher, if they throw 100 pitches, you're going to make 40 mistakes. I mean, you're just not going to hit the glove every time. Sometimes you make it right down the middle and the guy hits a weak ground ball, the third baseman, you get a double play. Other times you get on your spot and the guy hits it hard. But you certainly improve your chances when you go to your spot and are able to get it there when you can. Well, you've been waiting for this guy to come out of the dugout into the batter's box.
I just wanted to get away from me after he walked in that room yesterday. Look at those numbers for Jesus Aguilar. All right, runners on the corners. And a fastball is in there at 97 on the outside corner, a strike. Oh, and 2. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. Oh, did they get a tag? He's out before the runner scored. The game is over. The game is over. The Reds win the game. The tag was made before the runner touched the plate. How about the ending to that game, boys and girls? What an incredibly alert play right there by Peraza. He knew